It's been an unusually mild fall, with some parts of Manitoba getting just a little snow and others, like here, none at all. According to Environment and Climate Change Canada, the average amount of snowfall we should see in November is down significantly. Manitoba experienced the worst wildfire season recorded in 30 years this year, and right now there are still 66 active fires burning in Manitoba. Rain and snow are desperately needed. Joining us now from the Wilderness Committee is Eric Rader. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you actually travel extensively in the wild here in Manitoba with a specialty in the eastern part of Manitoba, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been seeing out in the wild when it comes to the dryness, the moisture, and the concern that you have.
Yeah, the fire season was extraordinary. When we tallied it up in September, it's 8% of the forests in the province burnt in one season, and that should really alarm us. We should be concerned about where we go with that. The moisture in the north is a little bit worse than it is in the east, and the fires that are continuing to burn are because of the peat bogs that we have throughout our forests.
Let's talk about that, because Manitoba has a lot of peat bogs. That's what makes us even more susceptible to these dangerous fires. Tell us exactly how they are so susceptible. What is it exactly?
There's so much carbon in peat, the decomposing sphagnum moss, that once it burns, it doesn't even need very much oxygen, so it'll be below the soil and it'll be burning. But it's the most carbon-rich terrestrial area on the planet. And so once they start burning, unless you get significant moisture, it's not going to go out.
It's very hard to put them out. And then there's something called zombie fires as well. Tell us what zombie fires are.
Yeah, burning underground, because there's pockets of air under the soil. So we get snow on top of a fire, on top of the soil, on the forest floor, but we can have fires burning underground, and those could go all winter long. Unless there's enough moisture to put them out, then we could have fires starting up in spring again. And
right now there is no moisture in many parts of the province.
Yeah, that's right. And the rain that we didn't really see much of in the fall contributed to that. And you know, even in summer when we were getting rain, when you went out to these fire areas, there was these zombie fires, little peat fires smoking all over the place.
You're really worried about the animals, the wildlife living in these areas. Tell us about that and what your concern is.
Yeah, I mean, the people impact is tremendous, but what people ask me about is the animals, and sensitive animals like boreal caribou. Much of their forest in southern Manitoba burnt. They're a species that's protected federally because they're so at risk, and the fires are going to have moved these caribou into areas that they're not used to and may not have the resources they need, not enough food, not enough old forests to support them. So that's one of the pieces we're looking at. And then, you know, moose across the province have been struggling for years. The fires will have impacted the moose, and those are things that we're looking at, trying to figure out if we have enough forest set aside for the animals.
There's also the human toll. We know that the fires were deadly this past summer. A lot of people were forced to leave their homes for months on end. It really has a devastating impact on communities. What is the solution here? We know climate change is happening. What can we do in our lives to try to mitigate this problem?
Yeah. Because other places have been seeing this more often, BC has been handling fires. If you live in the forest, you're going to have to learn how to be fire smart. So BC has a whole package, some of the things that I brought home from my trips to BC on Fire Smart BC.
Okay.
When you go to a visitor center in the Slocan Valley, and there's a rack, and 1/3 of it is full of fire smart stuff. The other stuff this is where you go whitewater rafting or hiking, and this is the hotels. But 1/3 of the literature was teaching people how to handle the fact that fires are going to be coming. And the thing about the Manitoba fire is that there was fires going in so many places. There's no jurisdiction in the world that can have the firefighting resources to handle fires like we had. And that's the reality. We are not going to be able to send water bombers to protect this community and that mine site and that hydro dam. And we're going to have to know how to make sure that our communities in the forests are capable of dealing with the fires that are going to come until we act on climate.
Okay, and that'll be a project you'll definitely be helping the province get to and get on track with. Thank you so much, Eric, for sharing this with us.